I'd like to welcome you all here tonight, this very special celebration, which is the last event marking the 25th anniversary of the hunger strikes in 1981. Your first speaker is a very significant figure in the context of the hunger strikes. In fact, he was on hunger strike for the longest of all, for 70 days. Please welcome Lawrence McKeown.
Tu know my day agus fáilte go dtí is mar dúirt Robert, Icha speisialta, Icha ceol, Icha ceilúrú agus Kevin Can. Good evening, you're all very welcome this evening, which is a special evening, as Bobby says there. It's an evening of music, of song, of celebration, and of remembrance. And before we go any further, I'd like to give a very special welcome here to the families of hunger strikers. It's the families of all the hunger strikers through from Tony Darcy to Mickey Féin. And also I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to the Cuban ambassador to Ireland, His Excellency Noel Carrillo, as Bobby said. In the years following the hunger strike in the prisons, as we continue to build on the sacrifice of that period of 1981 and of the previous years of protest, we eventually ended up getting access to education and to books, which had been one of our 5 demands. And one of the books that made an impact on me at that time was a book by a woman called Emma Goldman, who was a feminist anarchist from the turn of the 20th century. And in one of her books I read that she'd been a friend of Lenin. And in a letter that she wrote to Lenin, she says, "If I can't dance, I don't want to be part of your revolution." And I thought that quote appropriate to start tonight with, because we celebrate the lives of those who love to dance, to sing, to make music, to write poetry, and who are also part of our revolution. And when we celebrate their lives, we also recall those engaged in the struggle on the outside, and those people without whose protests behind the prison walls would have made what we did inside, whether it was in Armagh Women's Prison or in Long Kesh, would have made that futile. People who day after day face the violence of the RUC and the British Army and the Gardaí here in Dublin, as was witnessed by many people. And we remember those also who died in that resistance outside the prison wall, as well as within it, those who were very much to the fore in the anti-H Bloc Armagh campaign at that time. And it's fitting also tonight that we celebrate through music and song, because for many centuries it was through music and song that we kept alive our history of resistance and rebellion. At a time when accounts of Republican Ireland could not be read about in books, or the books didn't appear in the shelves of libraries, or couldn't be heard on the airwaves, it was through ballad and song that the deeds of our patriot dead were recalled. We've come some distance from those days, but we still need the songs, the music, and the rhythm to remind us of the current injustices in Ireland and throughout the world, and music that will inspire us to continue our struggle for a better society and for a better world. This year has seen numerous events, the length and breadth of Ireland and abroad, to commemorate the hunger strikers and to recall that period. The 1981 exhibition of photos, columns and artefacts from that period has travelled all around Ireland and also to England and to Scotland. And I'd like at this point to say a special thanks to Shonda Moore, who arranged for the exhibition, and also to Flash McFay and Bick McFarlane, who arranged for speakers to attend the numerous events. And in mentioning those particular people, I don't wish in any way to leave out the countless dozens, if not hundreds of others, who were to the fore in making this year the success that it was. Events were held in universities, in colleges, in schools and town halls, in Liberty Hall here in Dublin, in Leinster House, community centres, theatres and elsewhere. There have been monuments erected, murals painted, documentaries made, interviews given, books and biographies published, films shown, and talks given. Along case itself, visits were made by the families, friends, comrades, and the general public to the prison hospital where the hunger strikers died. And there have been similar events held in other countries, in France, in the Basque Country, in Italy, Australia, the US, and in Cuba. I first learned of Cuba, which seems strange now, but I first learned of it in 1978. I was a prisoner in the H blocks on the blanket protest, and 4 sheets of stiff toilet paper were passed from cell to cell. With a short history of Cuba and the role of Fidel Castro and Che Guevara written in small handwriting. And little did I know then that the protest that I was taking part in would be the subject of a speech given by Fidel Castro in 1981 when he addressed the Interparliamentary Congress of Latin American States. In 2001, on the 20th anniversary of the hunger strike, the Cuban people erected a monument in memory of those who died in the H blocks. And this year, as part of the 25th anniversaries, former hunger strikers Mary Doyle and Rim McCartney went out to Cuba to rededicate the monument. So I'm delighted that the Cuban ambassador is here with us tonight. It's an opportunity for us to thank his people and his president, Fidel Castro, for the manner in which they stood shoulder to shoulder with us in those dark days of 1981. And on a personal level, to voice my own admiration for a country and a people who have been an inspiration to us and oppressed peoples around the world. In later years, I learned much more about Cuba than what I got from that short, handwritten note way back in 1978. And one thing I discovered was that in Cuba, the class system has not entirely disappeared. There's one group of people who are privileged over and above everyone else. That group is the children of Cuba. And when we look at the health and education system available to them, despite the embargoes, despite the economic hardships faced by their country, we can see where the values and priorities of their government and their society lie. And in many ways, those values and priorities were echoed in the words of Bobby Sands, which appear here tonight in front of us. Words that, for me, sum up the values and principles that lie at the core of Irish republicanism when he coined the phrase, "Our revenge shall be the laughter of our children." So in conclusion, I'd like to thank all the artists who have come here tonight to perform for us. So for the next few hours, let's listen as they make music while we reflect upon and celebrate the lives of those, not just those who died on hunger strike, but for all those who have given their lives to bring us to where we now are. The best way that we can probably remember them is to continue to build on the sacrifice that they made and to make a reality the vision that they held. So I'd like you now to join with me in welcoming on stage the first artist of the evening, Willie Byrne from Clery in Dublin. Gor míle maith.
The time has come to part, my love. I must go away. I leave you now, my darling girl. No longer can I stay. My heart, like yours, is breaking. Together we'll prove strong. The road I take will show the world the suffering that goes on. And the gentle clasp that holds my hand must loosen and let go. Please help me through this open door. Though instinct tells you no, our vow it is eternal and will bring you dreadful pain. But if our demands aren't recognized, don't call me back again. And how their sorrow, it touched us all in those final days when it was time she held the door and touched his sallow face. The flame he lit by leaving is still burning strong, and by the light it's plain to see the suffering still goes on. The time has come to part my love, and I must go away. I leave you now, my darling girl. No longer can I stay. Sword upon the wall, I look at it this evening, sitting here with you in Glenog on the hill. Sword upon the wall from the 1916 rising, your father heard the call and fought with all his will. The treasured proclamation is positioned proudly too, and I recite it fondly and sing the foggy Jew. The wise man of the quarry on Ardbrew does recall the memories of a soldier neath his sword upon the wall. I walk upon the Burma, see the Dublin sky so free. Men such as your father rose up for it to be. The tricolour is flying upon the GPO. The rebels of that Easter drove out the Saxon foe. The lilies they are growing beside the cottage door. That homestead so sacred saw the famine and the war. Dearest Mick and Paddy, Fenian patriots all, remind me of our rising with the sword upon the wall. Sword upon the wall, I look at it this evening, sitting here with you in Glenog on the hill. Sword upon the wall from the 1916 rising, your father heard the call and fought with all his will.
A song called Alla Luna Gauna. Sinn in lar me, Féin con auris, bachana gefena splogigi alla for the vehicle bannig tevagum shigliner na gamna Aluna gamna nagamna bana Aluna gamna lagauna pidang parlam Aluna gamna lagauna gialabana lagauna modern tamri Ik thou sail upon them Fighter them come is fighter them burak Fighter them seagull and quarret knock wig doctor Kjol the shield grill of a sheer Cormac Sakinnak an moek chat kan bulan ang alang luna kamna nagang nagapanan aluna gauna gauna pidang parlam Aluna gauna gauna gialabana gauna modern hamri ek thou sail na balta gauna modern hamri ek thou sail na balta Thank you. The snows they melt the soonest when the winds begin to sing. And the corn it ripens fastest as the frosts are settling in. And when a young man tells me that my face he'll soon forget before we part, I'll wager bet he'll be fain to forget him. And the snows they melt the soonest when the winds begin to sing. And the swallow flies without a thought as long as it is spring. When springtime goes and winter blows, why Latin you'll be fain with all your pride to follow me across the stormy main. And the snows they melt the soonest when the winds begin to sing. And the bee that flew in summertime, in winter it will not sting. I've seen a woman's anchor bent between night and morn, and it's surely not a guarded thing to melt a woman's scorn. So never bid me farewell a farewell I receive. You will lie with me, my love. I'll kiss, I'll take your leave. I'll wait here till the woodcock calls and the martin takes its wing. The slows they melt, the sugares, when the winds begin to sing. Thank you. Citizen and me. Where, oh, where is that gallant band? They have gone to join the great rebellion, so that working man might yet be free. Quickly laid him in his grave. They buried him down in the young green garden, with union women on every side. And there we swore we'd make a mighty union and fill James Connolly's heart with pride. Come all you noble Irish people, come join with me for liberty. We will make a mighty union and break the bonds of slavery. Good night.
Karen Casey.
Thank you to Cormac, Breathnach and Niall Vallely. All the best.
Ograhin Féin, thank you. Friends, I remember very well the first time I went to Cuba. It was in the early 1980s. And I remember walking around Havana, and everybody I bumped into, they asked me where did I come from. And I said, Irlanda. And almost before I had it finished, every person's hand shot up in the air and they said, Viva Bobby Sands. So I'm delighted that at this point in the evening, I'm going to welcome on stage Mitchell McLaughlin, Ard Rooney of Sinn Féin, who's going to make a presentation to the Cuban ambassador, Noel Carrillo. Thank you.
Well, good evening, everyone. It's a great evening so far, and I'm sure that this will be one of the memorable concerts. There are many, many events in Dublin on any given weekend, and it's fantastic to see so many of you who demonstrated your solidarity with the families of the hunger strikers, and who remember that very, very momentous and historic event over a series of events, commemorations, workshops, discussions over the past year, culminating in this evening's very, very enjoyable event. There have been references this evening, and indeed throughout that past year, to the international solidarity that was extended to the Irish struggle. And in particular, the struggle for Irish self-determination has always depended on twin pillars of the determination of the people of Ireland themselves, never ever to exceed or to surrender their entitlement as a people to national self-determination. And the second pillar was always the link between other struggles and the solidarity and the kinship and the networking that has existed. And the Cuban Revolution and the people of Cuba and the government of Cuba have been steadfast in their support for the Irish struggle for independence and for sovereignty. The Irish Republican movement have been consistent, coherent in delivering a message that we stand for democratic socialist republicanism, and we intend to see that type of government established in Ireland as well. And to that extent, the solidarity that we have received in many difficult circumstances and at times of crisis in our struggle from the people of Cuba has been inspirational and has been a very significant factor in the reality that our struggle has made great advances and has grown from strength to strength. So it is a particular honour and pleasure for me to welcome our comrade, the Ambassador Noel Carrillo from Cuba, to join us here on the stage. Perhaps we have the opportunity, if the Ambassador agrees, to hear a few words. But I want to, at the same time, welcome. There is, as you know, a number of Republican prisoners still imprisoned and incarcerated as a result of their involvement in the struggle for Irish freedom. And I would like you to give a big welcome to Byrne, who is the mother of Stephen, a prisoner from this city, who has made a wonderful boron that we would hope to present to the Ambassador. So I would ask Karina to join us on the stage. Do you want to say a few words? Yes.
Thank you very much for this warm welcome. For me, it's a very emotional night to be here with you. From personal point of view, I've been very linked to the history of Ireland, because for a long time I've been working in the relation with Ireland. But I think the hunger strike was the moment when Ireland was discovered by most of the Cubans. And a very beautiful discovery. We are talking about the sad moment when 10 young people, they die. But their example of resistance and courage opened the door for many, many people all around the world, and in Cuba as well, to know the history of this country and to know about the fight of the people of this country to preserve its nation. That makes our countries to be very similar. We are also a small nation who had to resist for a long time in its history to survive as a nation. And we understand very much how important it is to be courageous enough to resist. And those people who gave their life, they show the path to this process of peace, which is also very encouraging, and ask from all the Irish people to have a big strength in their ideas to continue fighting and to succeed in the objective of those young people who died 25 years ago. Thank you very much for this opportunity to express my feeling to you and to express once again the feeling of solidarity of the Cuban people to the Irish people. Thank you. Gracias.
Oh, that's nice. Like a false now, stop now, coolie cord, let's cord, lot cord, the Lord gonna say like us, like the love, her folk, the reins of flare free and televaga soon is the land the low, the vela, the vaha, the vela, the vaha, the vela, banaha, and made it like the data, made it to eat on Selatan, the Salamatolachak, our the father like his Koigi, August Koigi, Shul the Voher, Scream the Sketchina Makushki, Hamagas Haskell the Veil, Skrennigan Tennishin, last Karen, I'm with Bolligan Moan, Shed and a Lord, Eglanatinton. Dan lijkt het alle macherisch. Nou mocht ik aan tennis in laatste. Karen en ik met balken moon. Shit aan de loor, ik laat het in dan. Dan lijkt het alle macherisch. Nou mocht ik no. Nou mocht ik no. Kun ik geef jou. Ik daar. Ha, wo, 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 wo. Ik daar. Wo, 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 wo. Zo als ik had een groen, een douche had een hoen. Deze gaat een fris, ik las gaat een volg na het hit. Slaan ik naar lid, ik had ze hadden de gezond, dan kort ik de goed. Tos had een vrijbraak geslaan, dat de goed is zo bang op haar. Maar de gele houden in de kokkelen, dat de geswinta. Let je ik dan aan maken, sabere. Abere, agus abere. Hey! I'm a king to hey. I'm a camera run to fay. Then the road now, then the road is begin to go the road day. Turbo got then the road now, then the road begin to go the road day. Turbo got screening on tennis in last. Garden I made Balligan Moon, Shade on a lord, Eglan at Tinton, the lake the Telemacharish, no Muhi, cunning on tennis in last. Garden I made Balligan Moon, Shade on a lord, Eglan at Tinton, the lake the Telemacharish, no Muhi, no, no Muhi, no, Cunning give you. Ik daar, ha, wo, 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 wo. Ik daar, wo, 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 wo. Ik doe, ik doe, ik doe, ik doe, ik doe. Kun ik doe, ik doe. am the artist and I am the knowledge and is the number is free. Face the trust get cunis agus go am the ghost and goddess and artist and but to the other one get on for E. I'm the dollar lord I'm the velati I'm British I'm the shoe I'm force I'm few bosses if you can agus I'm the cook show I'm the chance of agus I'm sharavish kuna I'm cousin I'm lice I'm drift and number that the love got then and shake it go is it are you not say Lorraine to one of them come on got the cab to the rain Arlene and Taylor into one of them. Come on, got the cap to the ray. Screening on tennis in last Garn and I met Balligan Moan. Shade on a lore, he Glallantin Ton. No leave the dollar Macharish. No mookie, grinning on tennis in last Garn and I met Balligan Moan. Shade on a lore, he Glallantin Ton. No leave the dollar Macharish. No mookie, no. No mookie, no. Grinning give yo. He Cos an I may take my wars Gwynna mock tira Gwynna na gwi ha Agus a gwynna on dri Cos an I may take my wars Kyla may ulgurt Kyla may behig Kyla may ma chud grílte Cos an I may take mo warsa Kyla may ús Kyla may paw Kyla may ma chud grílte Cos an I may take my wars Toga she'd my arm lone dim Lema lova, moha lova Lema ra lo Cos an I may take my wars Gara she'd my lova dim Lema spoga Ta faga lema ra spog Cos an I may take my wars Toga she ma spoga tim Is gan gulen, a gan brolach herbe Lema anam sa Cos an I may take my wars Agus Kyle for me Kyle for ma anam sa choma Shacht lucht ma lachta ha ha Mara doet me, Byrne doet me Sinn me, yeah Fanatic ma warsa Slán Fana she shasta I'm just going to say it one more time for all your benefit. Alla doet me, Byrne doet me, yeah! Fanatic ma warsa Slán Fana she shasta Kosa In 1803 we sailed out to sea, out from the sweet town of Derry. For Australia bound, if we didn't all drown, and the marks of our fetters we carried. In the rusty iron chains we sighed for our wains, our good women we left in sorrow. As the mainsails unfurled, our curses we hurled on the English and thoughts of tomorrow. At the mouth of the foil, bid farewell to the soil, as down below decks we were lying. Oh, dirty scream, woken out of a dream by a vision of the bow robber dying. A sunburned crew as we dished out the gruel, and O'Connor was down with a fever. 60 rebels today bound for Botany Bay, how many will reach the receiver? And oh, I wish I was back home in Derry. Oh, I wish I was back home in Derry. I cursed them to hell as our bow fought to swell. I should dance like a moth in the firelight. White horses rode high as the devil passed by, taking souls to Hades by twilight. 5 weeks out to sea, we were now 43. Our comrades we buried each morning, and in our own slime we were lost in the time of endless nights without dawning. All together, let's lift the roof. And oh, I wish I was back home in Derry. Oh, I wish I was back home in Derry. Van Diemen's Land is a hell for the man who'll live out his whole life in slavery, where the climate is raw and the gun makes the law, neither wind nor rain care for bravery. When the years have gone by, I've ended my bond, my comrades ghost walk behind me. A rebel I came, I'm still the same. On the cold winter's night you will find me. I wish I was back home in Derry. Oh, I wish I was back home in Derry. Oh, I wish I was back home in Derry. Oh, I wish I was back home in Derry.
Be on, be lum, be gosta, be kroga, be clista, be kinta, be costa, be gleg, be grover, galgorlach, be suckerlastig, is be dinach, be etram, ganchana serbe, edachorp, edachri, edachjan en santri, en a chorantutu, hein a lahora, pe koludor en a weltu. Be on lum, be loy durl down, and nor a chassan on down, be on down, xbula with the kale, and nor a hagan on town, be on, be lum, be gasta, be kroga, be clista, be kinta, be costa, be gleg, be grover, galgorlach, be suckerlastig, is be dinach, be etram, ganchana serbe, edachorp, edachri, edachjan en santri, en a chorantutu, hein a lahora, pe koludor en a weltu. Be on lum, be loy durl down, and nor a chassan on down, be on dum, xbula with the kale, and nor a hagan on town. So few more coheter five. Oh, let a mayor like now, few more coheter five. There a mayor, lies so for a few more coheter five. five. Oh, Lana Mayor like now few more co eater five. Noni and she live Koska Hor Arma Vroga. Noni and she live Koska Hor Arma Hota. Noni and she live Koska Hor Arma Roma Lana May. Lana May. Lana May. Lana May. Tila Harai. Lana May. Maga with my first bio. Lana May. Maga with Shayama Homosogum. Lana May. Maga with my first bio. Lana May. La Perla Taladana Vogum. Lana May. Maga with my first bio. Lana May, Arlan Lusso, Lana Ganam, Lana May, Marga with my first bio. Lana May, Marga Ben and Joe Brahmanam, Tassela come to Sula come to Rowa come to Runa come, Balda come to Kuna come to Tanner and Cho, Skela come to Shula come to Dasha come to Dusha come, Tossa come to Kusha come to Father Mangla, few more co eater five. Oh, Lana May, like now, few more co eater five. Lana May, whoa, need that on down there, few more co eater five. Whoa, Lana Mayor like now, few more co eater five. Noni and she live Koska Hor Arma on them sir. Good meal Mogov. Pwyn Tanna wasn't quit out in here. Alright, slot.